SDCE is the name specified worldwide for premium quality test consumables. Manufactured in accordance with BS, EN and ISO standards, SDCE's comprehensive range of products for color fastness, physical testing and light fastness tests help to guarantee the quality of your textiles time and time again. Watch how SDCE's cotton lawn is used for ISO 105x12 color fastness to rubbing. Select 2 identical pieces of fabric to test, one for dry rubbing and one for wet rubbing. The size should be comparable to the area of the base plate of the crock meter to avoid any creasing or pucking of the material during the rub test. Cut along the fabric using the natural warp and weft threads as a guide and a template to mark out the area as necessary. Before starting the test, refer to the methodology outlined in the standard to see if the test needs to be repeated in the width direction as well as the length direction, cutting more sample pieces if needed. It's also important to ascertain whether the face or reverse side of the fabric is being tested. This can depend on the end use of the fabric. Is the test looking to establish how the inside of a pair of trousers would stain a tucked-in shirt, for example? When the samples are ready, you can start the first test. Mount a piece of SDCE 5x5cm cotton lawn onto a peg of the crock meter using a clip to keep it in place. The peg should be 16 mm in diameter and its angle should be completely flat. Make sure that the cotton lawn is taut within the clip to prevent any uneven staining of the fabric, which could influence the subsequent grading assessment. Any slippage of the cotton lawn can lead to a haloing effect on the assessment area, so make sure that the clip is secure before beginning the test. Mount one of the fabric samples in the rubbing track of the crock meter, which should measure 104 mm long, plus or minus 3 mm to meet the guidelines outlined in the standard. It's also important to make sure that the crock meter enacts the correct weight as described in the methodology. In this case, a downforce of 9 Newton on the test area. The pressure applied to the test fabric is intrinsic to the staining level attained, so ensure that your equipment complies with the methodology before starting the test. A stopwatch will help you to achieve the correct rubbing speed, which is 1 rub per second. Apply 10 rubs within 10 seconds using a steady and even motion to apply consistent pressure onto the fabric. When the rubbing is complete, carefully remove the cotton lawn from the clip and put to one side for assessment later. If required, the test can now be repeated for the width direction of the fabric. Remove the used test fabric from the rubbing track of the crock meter and replace it with the second sample of the cloth. For the wet rubbing test, you need some grade 3 distilled water. Soak a piece of SDCE 5cm by 5cm cotton lawn in the water, aiming to take up at least 95% of the water in the dish. Remove any excess water on the back of your hand. If required, you could check that the cotton lawn is soaked sufficiently by comparing its wet weight with a dry piece of the same size. Mount the wet cotton lawn onto the peg, once again ensuring that it's taut and secure and at a flat angle. Repeat the rub test in the same way, aiming for 10 smooth rubs at a rate of 1 rub per second. Carefully remove the wet cotton lawn from the clip and put it to one side. You are now ready to move on to the assessment stage. Prepare both the wet and dry pieces for assessment by placing each on top of 3 other pieces of cotton lawn. If you want to make sure that your equipment is fit for purpose before testing your sample, SDCE verification fabrics can put all other variables to the test. By carrying out the methodology on a fabric with consistent and notable results, technicians can rest assured that their operatives and equipment are performing as expected with continuity from one test to the next.